Afternoon, everyone. Can everyone hear me? Okay, great. Hopefully okay, cool. Hi, I'm Marie-Simone, and I am so excited to be here presenting this information on the research that I conducted on menstrual precarity in the context of Zimbabwe with a decolonial perspective. The core thesis of my research looks into the imposition of colonization and its import of gender in the context of Zimbabwe, and showing the fact that it informs the manner in which we still perceive the menstruating body, as well as the interventions that we devise to address issues such as period poverty. So for the purposes of this presentation, I will start off by giving you just a brief little context of the history of Zimbabwe, and then I'm going to go into my research methodology because I think it's quite important given that we are a grassroots organization that wants to prioritize the voices of women on the ground. And then lastly, kind of three of the main findings that were quite intriguing from this research, which you can see the names of here on this slide. So I'll just scroll down. Yes. Oh gosh, is this?
It's the little arrow that tends to be.
Okay.
It's okay.
Brilliant. Okay, awesome. So Zimbabwe is a former settler colony, and so ideas around white supremacy are still remnant today. Despite gaining independence, coloniality of gender still informs the manner in which we perceive issues around reproductive health, agency, and most importantly, womanhood. And as a founder of an organization called Vaskana Vedu that tries to address these issues around menstrual health, this is something that I have very much seen the impacts of when it comes to speaking about menstrual cycles, but also the uptake of certain interventions in the context of Zimbabwe. So to do this research, what I started off by doing is obviously desk research to better understand the interconnectedness between gender and its coloniality, and then its subsequent supposition or imposition onto communities based in Zimbabwe. I want to make a point that gender did exist prior to colonization, but its position in organizing society was very different. And definitely there is a specific type of gender that is part of the colonial project that was imposed upon these specific communities. And so when conducting this research, following the desk research, I had the privilege of speaking to women in Zimbabwe, ranging from the ages of 18 to 60. That was very important for me as well, because a lot of the times when menstrual health interventions are being implemented, there's a temporal stability that is assumed in the work that's being done. And so you find that women of certain ages are not being catered to, so on and so forth. But also, I think it's very important because the primary means of sharing information when it comes to menstrual cycle is through oral traditions. And so it was interesting to see the way in which this was happening across different generations. And many of them had been there before colonization, or rather before independence and then after independence. So when it comes to the findings, the first main thing that came out is this monolith idea of womanhood. So whiteness and white womanhood is still the blueprint that is fostered, and is the one that kind of ascribes valorization when it comes to the menstruating body. So the interventions that people in Zimbabwe tend to receive come from development practitioners who come with Western ideas of what empowerment or dignity look like. And a lot of the women expressed a frustration with the fact that their contextual understanding was not being put into consideration. Moreover, given this idea of womanhood being stuck in a specific time frame, as is someone who is able to reproduce, older women often get ignored as well. The second bucket that we have here is the concept of the modern woman. So white womanhood also extends towards consumerism, whereby there is the concept of if you are a woman, you are able to afford certain things or do certain things. So to give you just a bit of an example, in kind of colonial Zimbabwe as well as post-colonial up until a certain point, the grocery stores were divided on the black side and then the white side, but they were not separate entities. So everyone could see what the other side was able to purchase. and Black women were only allowed to have kind of cotton or reusable products, and white women had the kind of disposable products. And so when asked to use these reusable products, a lot of women felt it was a symbol of regression and a symbol of the fact that they were not women in and of themselves because their white counterparts were able to get these disposable products. And then the last bucket that I have here is the notion around purity. So also when I speak about the gender being part of a colonial project, there was very much the religiosity that emphasized a woman's ability to preserve her purity, but also the reproductive potential being the utmost important thing when it comes to menstruation. And as a result of this, we see that women who do not have the propensity to reproduce are often ignored, and this has impacts on diagnostic potential. It has impacts on menopausal women who are often being ignored, but also it's fear-based education that emphasizes a purity as opposed to an understanding of the menstruating body. That's all from me. I've gone just a bit over, but thank you so much.